Okay, let's do it. So, as one of our community friends said, I'm starting directly from the punchline, which I am. That's exactly why the dramatic chipmunk is there. Let's move this. I'm going to tell you a personal story about how I used Beautify for one of my clients. And this story has everything. It has drama, it has crying, it has happy ending at the end. And it's interesting because Maya mentioned some of the stuff that she did on, she and her team on Storefront UI. And I'm pretty sure that whatever I'm going to tell here is, although they did a good work there, it still applies. So let's dive in directly into it. Okay. So quickly about me. Who am I? I am Dima, and I'm a community organizer at Vue.js Israel. Yeah, thank you. And except of that, I'm doing a lot of other stuff. Partially consulting. I'm a front-end architect. I'm a hackathon mentor, and I'm actually really addicted to hackathons. I did like 20 something in the past couple of years. And I'm a public speaker, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so let's talk about the background story. So I had a client, and they have their product done for a couple of years, and it's written in AngularJS. And finally, I've managed to convince them to throw that old stuff away and go to something newer, which is, of course, Vue. So I think only for that it deserves like a clap. Yeah, actually, because it's not straightforward, because many of the companies will choose like by default React, which is great. I don't have anything against React, but any framework should not be a default selection. It should be at least, you need to think about what each framework will give you and then decide what you want to use. So, who is the company? The company is a cybersecurity one, a pretty big one. And what was their motivation to move? I think it's pretty obvious. I'm not going to read all the bullets, but the main ones are like the product is really old, it's really slow, it's written in AngularJS, it's not maintained by Google anymore. I think in 2019, if anybody remembers, right, they stopped maintaining AngularJS at all. And they wanted better performance, and they want to hire new developers, et cetera, et cetera. So that's pretty obvious. What's the product? The product has a couple of pages. I'm calling them pages like screens, but it has about 100 components, so it's a pretty big product. It was built with Material UI. If anyone here used Angular, so you should be familiar at least with Material UI, based on Material Design. And it's a dashboard application mainly, so it's for IT guys. And it's desktop only. So no mobile, no responsive. Well, there is some responsiveness that I need to maintain, but mainly in desktop screen. So, okay. Of course, I had some constraints. I can't do whatever I want. So one of them is an incremental migration. We're not building a copy of the product and then just one day switching it. We're doing it step by step. So what I have to take in mind is that both of the new components, new pages, new stuff that I build will gonna live with the old stuff for at least, I don't know, a couple of months. It was about half a year, maybe a little bit more. And the design needs to be consistent. So I can't do like major breaking changes, not in terms of code, but I mean like user goes from page 1 to page 2 and he sees like, oh my God, what's going on? Is this a different application? Where I am? So okay, so we start brainstorming, and of course we have to decide what option do we have, select one of them and proceed with them. So I had Quasar as an option. So we already heard about Quasar at the beginning of the evening, mainly because it supports material design. This was one of the key features. I had Beautify, which we're going to talk about it in a minute. And I had the option of not using any framework. So I don't know, not using any framework, seriously? Maybe. I did consider it, and I presented to the company, mainly to myself, what are the pros and the cons of that. So I should use a framework when I want to gain speed. What do I mean? Like, you know, some of the stuff is already built, just use it. When I want to maintain like some kind of a level of a best practice in my development process, because whenever you use something, even when you use Vue, even when you use Beautify or whatever, the guys that build it predefined some set of rules that you should follow them. So I'm trying to hope that most of the rules are like based on a best practice. And you have a design system already built, which is, again, based on material design, which is good. But I have trade-offs if I'm using any framework. So I need to learn it. And I need to customize it later on if it doesn't fit exactly what I need. I need to maintain it. What do you mean maintain? So if version 2 point whatever comes out and it has breaking changes with my current version, I need to decide what's going on there. And eventually, if you're doing like a project long enough, eventually you will have to dive deep and almost to the end of any framework that you use, because you have like a bug or something that is not gonna be fixed by the framework itself like in the next year, but it's a bug on your software, on your product. It needs to be fixed like yesterday. So, but what are the trade-offs of working from scratch? There are trade-offs there as well. You need to build it by yourself, which is okay, I don't know, good, bad. You need to refactor it, and this is interesting, instead of customizing it, because when I did something bad, I need to rebuild it again and not just tweak it a little bit. And I need to solve bugs for the first time, which is one of the painful things that can be when you're going like build something from scratch. Some of the bugs I assume will be small and easy, and you will find almost everything on Stack Overflow, but some of them, I don't know, you will need to solve them by yourself. So, okay, what I choose? I choose Vuetify, which was a very good decision at that time. And why I choose it? Let's do a quick comparison between them. So, Vuetify is here, okay, and Quasar, and we see Vue Bootstrap. By the way, who used Vue Bootstrap? Okay, that's interesting. What was your impression from it? Did you terrible? So okay, so I heard like all the range. It was terrible and it was okay, and it's pretty much like Bootstrap, which is okay. I choose it because a couple of parameters here. The release cadence, which is weekly, which is amazing. A company that is a product that is updated almost on a weekly basis. It is fully tree shakeable, and it's automatic, which is I think a must for any framework, any tool that you're using. If it's not tree shakeable, you need to consider twice if you want to use it, because, well, of course, it depends on how much do you need of it. If you need like 90%, so you don't care if it's tree shakeable or not. You need maybe only 10, and maybe later you will not gonna need another 20. I don't see any reason to use something that is not tree shakeable, and you have 70, at least like 70% of stuff that you don't really use and need. Okay, so that was my selection. I chose Beautify, and in the beginning, it was pretty okay. We started building components. We started migrating from old ones to new ones. The easy ones, like buttons and stuff, went pretty easy because button is a button, you know. But, and there is a but here, okay?
Button.
Yeah. After some time, I found that Beautify is is causing like more pain, more headache to our team than helping us proceed quickly. We found ourselves like customizing and tweaking and fighting with elements that's supposed to be like just use it and that's it, but no. So here are some of the reasons why that happened. We have a design team in that company, and the design team did not follow strictly the material design rules. So that's one major thing that I didn't know at the beginning when I chose Beautify. So it's very important to assess what you're going to have to do, because if you want to use material design framework and you're not complied to material design, like strictly, you're going to pay for that in some way. Okay, so Beautify has an override system, right? It allows me to change colors. It allows me to pass variables and whatever. But again, I found out that specifically with Beautify, it was not enough. And that a little bit connects to what Maya said. When you build storefront UI, you took that in mind, which is good. But again, I'm pretty sure it won't fit everyone, and it's okay. That's the key point. You can't satisfy everybody, which is okay. I want to talk to you about an example. Okay, so I had a model window that I needed to do, and it has a radio group. The user needs to choose one of them and then like cancel or okay or whatever. Okay, so this is a radio and this is a radio button, and the whole field should be clickable and selectable. Like you can click whatever whenever you want here, and it should work. How would you build that, guys? Like just shoot out of your head. With what? Label. Okay, so label will wrap the radio, the input field itself, and it should just work because label is supposed to work out of the box like that. Exactly what I thought. Okay, do you agree with him, by the way? Yes. Just wrapping the label. Okay, so pretty common. I'm not mistaken here. That's good. Okay, so I took the vRadio. I hope you see it. vRadio component from Beautify, and wanted to tweak it a little bit and customize it. But I found out, let me enlarge that specific portion there, that Beautify implemented the radio buttons in a way that the label is a sibling of a div that wraps the input field itself. So they are siblings. I can't in any way wrap the input field with the label. I can do some, nasty stuff like position absolute and stuff and whatever. I didn't want to go there because, I'm using a framework. I want to use the framework and not hack the framework. So I dug a little bit deeper to see, okay, why they decided to do it like that. So I went to material design, like the basic style guide of material design, and looked at the radio buttons there. And I found, okay, not surprisingly, the same things, like the label is here and a div that wraps the input field itself. So not Beautify, Beautify did not decided to do it like just out of the blue. They did it according to material design spec, which is good. But for my design that I needed to do here, it won't work. And I don't want to hack Beautify, like with some shitty code or shitty hacks, that the next developer after me will try to understand what the hell did he did there and why is it not working for me. Okay, so do we think that we always need a design framework? UI framework, sorry. Well, from my experience, from my knowledge of at least the Israeli ecosystem, in most cases, I get a positive, like a definite yes. Yes. I always need a UI framework because some of the reasons that I mentioned before, speed and best practice, and I do agree with that, partially. A quick story. How many times did you wanted to customize a button when you use a design framework? So what's the steps there? I need to find all the variables that the framework allows me to customize in that button, which is okay. And then I will need to override some of them, which is still okay. And then I need to create maybe some custom variables of my own because the variables that the framework gave me is not enough. And then eventually, no one can read that code, even me, after like at least 3 to 4 months. And I'm going to say, what the hell, who wrote this shit? Which is, okay, we know that feeling. So I must say, actually, Beautify is actually one of the best material design frameworks for Vue that I used, okay? And it's true because I used it for several other projects, and it was like very, very slick experience. I used it, I customized some stuff, I play with it, I understand deeply what Beautify can provide and give me, and I was happy. But it's not all the time that I can have this kind of experience, in my belief, with any framework. Okay, so that was the dramatic part. Okay, so what I did eventually, we gradually removed dependency on Beautify in that project. It's not done yet. It's still part of the project, and we have small pieces, bits and pieces of code of Beautify inside of it, but it's removed along the way. So it's not like we're stopping the project and, okay, let's remove, let's clean, let's do a huge refactor. No, when we're touching a component that has Beautify stuff, as part of touching it, we're just removing the Beautify part outside. Wait. So we're writing, that's exactly the answer for the question. We're writing custom components specifically according to the designs that the design team created. And we are using Storybook. Who here knows about Storybook? Okay, that's pretty good. If you don't know about Storybook, you should check it out. It's a really great tool, or just catch me up later and I will briefly explain you. We use standalone material design components. So what do I mean by standalone? So if I need a carousel or whatever, I don't know, that is supposed to be with material design, I will not bring Beautify for only that. I will find some NPM package, for example, that does strictly that. I will import it and I will use it. Only that specific bit that I need as a like perfectly material design slider or whatever. And we moved to use Tailwind, but I'm not going to tell you about Tailwind because Danielle already did. What is, yeah, okay. It was supposed to stress Danielle. Okay, what are the takeaways from my personal story? Don't insist on anything, okay? The industry says that Beautify is the best. I'm not like, I'm saying real stuff that I saw on the web. Beautify is the best UI framework for Vue, and yada, yada, which is okay, I guess, in some cases, but only if the community or the industry itself recommends it and says, it's the best, it's the best. Be skeptical, a little bit. Not like too much, but a little bit. That's what I said, actually. Question everything. If you think you should use Tailwind because guys recommended it, do a little bit of research. Do like maybe a small POC even, if you can. Try to do it on a side project. Play around with it like for a day, a two, a week. If it feels good, use it. If it doesn't feel good, throw it away. Move to the next one. Fail quickly. In my specific story, I failed quickly. It took me like a month and something to understand that Beautify is not helping us enough. And the decision of removing it, gradually removing it from the project was made pretty quick, after a month and a half from like 6 or 7 months, which is good. Do you have any questions, guys? Do I have time for questions? Like 2 minutes, I guess? Any questions, maybe? None, which is good.
Well, we have
Oh, yeah.
Did you
One.
try to convince the designers maybe to change the design and to make it
Yeah.
more?
Yeah, it's actually, that's a very good question, by the way. Yeah. It doesn't came from me because I'm a past designer, so I know, or at least I feel sympathy for the designers and how they think and how they work. But this kind of request of, guys, why are you designing something that is not according to material stuff? It actually came from a higher levels in the company. And I do agree with the designers, actually, on that specific example, because trust them. They, in most cases, like in 99% of the cases, I want to believe that they know what they're doing. So if they're decided that material design specific component is not the best solution to do a specific action for the user, I want to believe it's true. And in most cases, it's actually true because they know what they're doing. So like bending the arm of the designers and saying them, guys, no, 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 you can't use whatever you want. You have to be constrained with a stuff that the developer selected like because of something. You can do it. I'm not recommending it. In some very rare cases, like when you're bootstrapping, you can like bend the designers a little bit and say, okay, guys, I do understand that what you're proposing is better, but this will be done in a day and this will be done in 2 weeks, so no. But it's mostly a decision that comes from some guy of the management, I don't know, VP R&D, CTO, head of design, or whoever. Questions? No, no, okay. Another one, quick one, yes.
Splitted each component to separate the package?
No, no, that's not what we're doing.
Okay.
When we need something that is very strictly material design and we don't want to build it by ourselves, we just find it on NPM and just use it. But most of the components that we want, that we need for the product, are now custom made because they are not following material design rules. So I can find exactly that on anywhere. Thank you very much, guys.